Boo. Hello. It's cold here today, and then by Monday it is supposed to go up to 30 degrees or something crazy. Consistency. That's what I'm looking for. Yeah, consistency. Oh, by Monday, 28 degrees, Tuesday, 31, and then back down again. So I think that's what we're looking for. We're looking for some consistency or something that is regular. We want to be regular, baby. We want regular. We don't want things that are not regular. But consistency is the word. Is that we want to see some consistency um in the weather, and I think within our own lives. And we are here on this new moon um eclipse, solar eclipse in Gemini. And if you're not feeling it, well, I don't know what to say. If you're not feeling it, I know a lot of people be feeling very, you may be feeling tired. Some people might be feeling angry. Some people might be feeling overwhelmed. There's a lot of energies that are around us right now. And still with that energy with Neptune and Barcus, I mean, this is very bringing in a somewhat of a trickster energy, definitely, because you have the Mercury retrograde, and with the Mercury retrograde and Gemini being the twin, and then it's squaring off to Neptune with Barcus, you got the trickster energy. Then Venus is chiming in there too. So we have this energy of there's the emotional part that's coming in, and we're wanting to feel good. We're wanting to have some continuity within our lives and normalcy, whatever the fuck normalcy is. I don't know. But I mean, there is this, I'm just trying to find some of my notes. There they are. To find a flow with our lives. And I think that's what within this new moon is that's I'm going to say that's kind of like the target of it, is that we want to find a flow within our own selves. We want to find a flow that allows us to come in. But this moon, this dark phases of the moon and the energy that's there, it's kind of might be feeling like we're having the dark night of the soul, and this huge treacherous rebirthing of ourselves at this time. And it's overwhelming. I mean, people are just overwhelmed, and I posted, we should just go in, just close all the blinds and just sit in the dark and be in the quiet, and just be in that quietness and allow ourselves to be. There is weird dreams. That's what I wrote down here. So I got, dreams, weird ones. I know I've been having some weird dreams and odd dreams. And that's very common with a dark moon. And it's time of the month when our subconscious rises and closer to the surface. So it's easier to dip our toes into the mysteries of the waters. And that's what we're starting to do. We're starting to really, and as I, say this, like as we're dipping our toes into this, and my image is that I got this person, this woman dipping her toes, and the shoreline is not sandy, it's somewhat rocky, and she's putting her toes into this water, and the water is changing, like it's like this changing and bringing in a new flow, a new energy to come through. And this dark moon is, the perfect time for divination, confronting shadows, and exploring what lies within. And if we can move past our fears of the dark, that is. So it is that, if you've ever done cold water immersion, and, you dive in to the cold water, like you go into the cold water and you're in it for 2 minutes. And that's what the cold water immersion, you do it for 2 minutes. The water's on an average 57 degrees Fahrenheit, thereabouts, 57 or 60. It's cold. It's fucking cold. But you go in there, but this is supposed to help to rejuvenate and really help to boost your immune system and your lymph nodes. And a lot of people who do it, Tony Robbins is a big pusher on this, who do it, they find the energies, like how they feel and the vigor throughout their day has really changed by doing the cold immersion. And for me, I've tried, like, I go in the shower and I slowly turn the hot water off, and then I go into the cold. And then I don't stay there. It's hard. It's hard. You got to ease into it, I think. But this is where, with this dark moon and with the energies that are coming in, is like, it's a time for this divination. It's a time for us to be confronting some of the shadows and exploring what lies within. And if we can, if we can dip our toe into this water, let's put our whole foot, and that's what I see her doing, just sliding her foot into it and start walking into the water. And as you walk into the water, the one part that as you walk in, it's fine. You get up to the knees. It's when you get to your private parts, that's the part when you go into the water and it just hits you there, and you're just like, whoa, whoa, what's going on? And it's all of the nerve. I mean, it's all of the nerve endings and everything that are there. And it's just like you're starting to really feel part of that immersion, and allowing for the energies to come forth. And that's where I'm feeling, is that we're coming into this water. We're coming in, and it feels kind of cold. It feels kind of like we don't want to do it. We don't want to go in there, but we on the other side, there is such rebirthing for us. There is such transformation for us. And this dark moon that's coming in, and it occurs each month, and they include, 5 days around the new moon. And this one is that's approximately from June 8th to June 12th. And it occurs on June. It occurs today. Is the deep work. So we've been going through, and we've been coming into this deep work. Many of you who took the karmic release with me, was huge. This is like huge transformation for you. I think this is going to be, out of all the karmic releases that I've done, that this is going to be one of the largest releasements for the group that I've had. And that's because of this Gemini energy that has come in, that Neptunian that's coming in, and plus for that square that's building up. So we have this square that's building up with Saturn and Uranus, and they're meeting on June 12th. I think it's June 12th. It's moving up to June 12th. And then they meet again on December 24th. So there's this huge activation of change, and wanting to create this change. And this is where we want to come in to this change and come in to this newness of our rebirthing. And, this is where Venus is out of bounds, the moon's out of bounds, and Venus is speaking to the moon, and the moon is squaring off to Neptune, and Neptune really doesn't have to speak to anybody because he's in his own house. And it's like he's speaking for himself. So this energy of speaking and this energy of the moon is coming in with this eclipse, and with the sun and Mercury there. It's bringing in some truth. It's bringing in some truth that maybe we don't even want to see or deal with. And the out of bound north nodes in the ring of fire with the solar eclipse, the eclipse, the Lord of the retrograde, in its own sign, and this happens to pass through the Earth's North Pole. So there's it's funny, haha. I saw a thing on climate change, and going over the North Pole, this eclipse coming over the North Pole, and it was talking about climate change lockdowns, and what that would be where you wouldn't be allowed to drive your car, so many times. You wouldn't be able to go very far. work days or work weeks would be going down to maybe 3 or 4 days a week. That's all the people would be allowed to be work. There'd be power outages and things like that. So I think this is, eclipsing something there, something to come into our awareness. The other part too, with these, with the nodes being there, the nodes are answer to the moon, right? These are the moon's nodes, right? And this is where this nodes are answering, and it's answering, here to the queen, to the lady, which is the moon, and it has to answer to the Lord, which is the sun. So the nodes are answering to the biggest energy fields, that are so close to us in doing things. So here's this energy of saying, all right, I'm answering to you because this is a void, this is a knot, a node is a knot in on the ecliptic, and this knot that's coming in is saying, okay, what do you want us to untie? What do you want us to bring forth? And in comes, Gemini, and with Gemini sitting there, it's like, there's a lot with, our heads might be hurting. There's might be a lot that's coming in, and we're starting, when the moon or the planets are out of bounds, their apparent path across our skies have moved outside of the ordinary seasonal oscillation and marked out of the sun. So they're kind of out of bounds. So they've gone rogue. So this is where a lot of people might be doing some really crazy, weird things, or something that's just not, in order to escape what they need to be doing instead of doing what they're supposed to be doing and working, within themselves. And that's, that's the other part too. It's like, with Venus out of bounds, and she's in Cancer, she wants to feel good. Like she's in this really feel good, loving kind of energy, but it could get, it could be a little bit, maybe too much of that, too much of that. It's like going to a party, going to a rave, and it could be, a little bit too much of the raving, too much of that extreme that can come in with this too. So we have to really find that truthful balance and that truth within ourselves. And this symbolic of the out of bound planets highlights moments when some may be more willing to break away from the norms. That's the other part too. When it's the moon, for example, that might mean being more willing to leave the safety of home and the tribe and explore something exotic and extreme. So that's the other part that's coming in, is that there, and poor Candace is just over it all. She says, she is so over it. I'm going to send her so much love today, because it is. I mean, this energy it's coming into this extreme, and we are feeling that, we want to break, maybe break out from the norms, break out from what we normally do, and not necessarily having to, or I got like, not necessarily have to explore, but I got like, yes, to explore something new, because we are stepping beyond our bounds. And thanks to the pesky overlapping cycles, with this moon, and and with this 18.6 year cycle that we're in, we begin what's called a major lunar standstill in this multi-year event, and the moon spends more time each month beyond the usual bounds. So the moon is really pulling us into this energy of our intuition and into the obscurity of the world around us. And one of the most memorables of out of bounds cycles in recent years occurred in close of the 1960s, and during the Summer of Love and the mass demonstrations on the lunar landing, the moon was out of bounds more often than usual. By the way, with the upcoming major lunar standstill, doesn't peak until 2025, 2024, 2025. And guess what? That's when NASA is planning to land humans on the moon again. So, I mean, whether you believe in the lunar landing or not, but I mean, just that energy of saying, this is what we're going to be doing. And the energies are back there again. And we also have the idea for a moment as we switch gears and talk about this North Node eclipse that actually is visible from the North Pole. So you probably learned, in school about the North Pole and, Santa Claus, because that's where he lives. Just an FYI, just letting you know. And the magnets points towards the Earth's poles. What you may not realize is that this means that the lines of the force in the Earth's magnetic field in the North Pole are flowing downwards the center of the Earth, whereas the South Pole are flowing out of the center of and back into space. That means, okay, this is sort of scientific, at least at this point in history, the lines of focus, the lines of force are flowing from the south towards the north. Symbolically speaking, that gives the north the flavor of moving towards and the south moving away. Least northern hemisphere residents get too cocky. These poles change their flow every 500,000 years on average, and we are overdue on another flip. But another way, the North Node eclipse brings new opportunities for where we are going. So where is that flow that you want to start going? Opportunities we might never have imagined before. And since these eclipses occur over the Earth's North Pole, it signifies a change of direction for our entire planet. What's really cool too with all of this eclipse is happening is the migration of the butterflies, of these beautiful oh my god, they're the painted wing butterflies, and they come into England, and there are hundreds of thousands of them, and they come in, and they're not all of them make it, to the North Pole. Some of them stay, in and around England and through the UK and through different parts of Europe. But their goal is the North Pole and to migrate into the Netherlands and Finland. So I think there's this also sort of this symbolic energy that's coming in for transformation and change with all of this, because within a butterfly and the cocooning, or as my grandson told me, the crystallid, and that's what it's called because that's what he's learning about, is the crystallid, is that you can't touch it. That's what he told me. He goes, you can't touch it, mama, because if you touch it, it could die. It's gotta grow on its own. And I thought, oh, that's interesting. Like, him explaining, here's a 6-year-old explaining to me about butterfly and transformations, and that sometimes butterflies will fly thousands and thousands of miles, once they come out of their chrysalid. And I found that, him very fascinating as he's explaining this to me, because I'm, looking at this migration, or we're talking about the migration of these butterflies. And that these butterflies, some of them that stay back, is because they know that's where they have to be. Others will continue to go, and it'll take sometimes generations before they actually reach that point of where they're going to go. Same in the astrology. When we look at charts, and we look at different charts, and especially family charts, sometimes it takes generations for families to work through something in order for it to accomplish whatever it is that they've been accomplishing. Or they may have started in one area, and you see an evolution of change happening within each generation of their astrological charts as they are transforming. And it's quite fascinating. There's a whole area of study on that with astrology, where they look at the whole family charts and transformations. Some of them have even had charts of their, I think, going back about 7 generations plus. And then in that generation, about 7 generation, one was where they might have been a lord and a lady, and they've lost their standing, and each generation was rebuilding their prosperity again, because it went back to this one, of of growth of this one family members that lost everything, and then you see that after so many generations how they have now rebuilt their growth of wealth and prosperity for their family. So anyways, a little bit off topic, from the butterflies, but that's what I see is like we are rebirthing and we are growing. And these eclipse lord or lady is the planet that rules the sign in which an eclipse occurs. So in this case, the solar eclipse occurs in Gemini. So in the eclipse, the lord is Mercury. Mercury is the lord. Mercury is the ruler right now. And Mercury backtracking retrograde close by the eclipse, in fact, will reach the eclipse degree in just, he has reached it, and it's going to trigger illuminating revelations of past events not long after the eclipse. So we're going to see some crazy energies after this eclipse that are going to occur. And communications and snafus and hackings, and when I was writing this and that, and anyways, I always get sidetracked. There was hacking done on some congressmen where they were hacked out for weeks to get into their computer, to get into their emails and stuff. So there's, when we talk about snafus and hackings, there's been a lot of hackings that have been happening with that Mercury retrograde in Gemini. We're going to have news of the Arctic or the US European summit that began today. So we have something, as I say, is going to come up. Some snafu, that's my new word, is going to come up around that summit. So there's something weird. And I guess when newsmen were trying to leave Washington because they're having a locust problem on the East Coast right now, and it's been the worst than they've seen in years, that they couldn't take off and fly. Their flights were delayed by over 7 to 8 hours, sometimes a day, in order for them to get to the summit. So I found that very interesting as well. And so we have all of these little things that are coming in, and there's going to be more revelations that are going to be coming in. And certainly with Gemini, and maybe even with, that ex-president who was born just hours before a lunar eclipse in Sagittarius. So, or maybe even a UFO report scheduled to be released in the U.S. Congress before the 25th. Any of this fits with the celestial narrative. So there's something major that's going to really come out today and over the next several days. So we're going to see some information that's going to come out through all of this. And I think even through the summit, there's going to be something crazy that's going to be revealed, or something that is very unexpected is going to happen there. And we can even look for this within our own lives, of things that unexpected, something unexpected that's going to happen, something that you think is going, this is what we're supposed to be doing, and there's a snafu or a snag and it didn't fall through. Something from the past is going to be revealed. If there's been issues of you dealing with something, is going to come forward also. So this is really, quite, aliens would be fun. Yeah, aliens would be a lot of fun coming in and landing, definitely. Well, we know that they're already here. At least I feel they're already here, or I've seen them here already. So it would just... I think some of us are just saying, yeah, come on in. Talk about aliens. We're going to go sidetrack here on Elon Musk, who I think is really fucking alien, and his wife, Gwyneth or Gwen, I don't know what her name is, but she is fucking weird. I mean, if you've seen her new TikTok, she's 30 something years old. She drew these little felt pen shit all over, circles all over her face, and she talks about AI and communism, and how having AI having these implants into us is going to bring us closer into creating a more harmonious communist regime. and that we'll be able to live in more harmony. And I'm just like, okay, baby, if that's what you believe, start handing over your billions of dollars right now from your husband and the money that you made, because if that's what you are thinking, that means everything that you own, you no longer own, and you have to divide the wealth up, you know, like totally. And she was really directing her energies to the younger generations. So those who have kids, really watch what the hell they're watching on TikTok. Just saying, because shit like that, that's very, just the way she's talking and the whole, it's very fucked up. And she does have a really young following, and our youth are very susceptible to shit, right? You need to watch that Time Traveler Man on Tubi. Okay, Time Traveler Man on Tubi. I used to watch Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I don't know if anybody knows or have seen that. That's that. I used to watch that every week. Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It was it was one of my favorites. So one of the characters is a cat that becomes human, and it's quite funny. So, but I just wrote that down, and so I will check that out. The Time Traveler Man. The other one, what was it called? Oh, I can't remember. Analogy. Anyways, there's someone's. He said Elon, Amazon, Jeff Guy, and Bill Gates will own the world. You know what? I don't think so. I honestly don't think so. There's so much. Well, Elon Musk. Okay, Elon Musk. I'm going to get off my little, put my notes aside here. Elon Musk, you know where his money came from? His money came from his dad's emerald mine. And his dad had the emerald mine in South Africa during apartheid. So his money was all the money that Elon Musk made, or even Tesla. Like he didn't invent Tesla. Tesla was a group of another group of men who founded the company, and he invested in it through his father, who he has issues with. So he took his father's money and used it. And yeah, so that's that was interesting to find out. And that he has plugs, in his hair, but so does Elton John. I like Elton. So, but I think with Elon, there's just so much weirdness with him. And even with that Jeff Bezos, or whatever his name is, I mean, he's going to be taking his money and he's going to be going into space. So I'm hoping something that maybe he stays in space. So because he's, that's his next trip. He's wanting to pay for a trip to space. And Bill Gates right now is the largest landowner in North America. So he is the largest landowner in it. And so there's some interesting factors that are coming in, and I know, and some of them, but it comes down to it, and we're going to go in, like as the natives say, and as, how can you own something that is not even yours to begin with? Right? How can you own something that's not even yours to begin with? We are only here on borrowed time. That's all we're here for. And so if you think that this is here forever for you, it isn't. We're only here for a short time, not a long time, right? And this is where people like this, and I can see like within history, coming down with history, and you look back at history, there's been men like him, like them, who try to own everything and try to control everything. And I mean, even with Elon's wife, or whatever she is, baby mama, this energy that's coming in is like, nobody in China's happy. They just had a huge protest at one of their big universities, which is huge. It's nothing that you really hear about. This is where I my thoughts, when it comes in here, this is what I'm hanging on to and playing with through the whole time. So this beautiful little medicine wheel that I have with my Amakua on it. This energy, or this is where, when it comes to the natives and it comes to the First Nations of people. And I think, the First Nations of people, I think we all, it is through the protection. Same with the Navajo. We know the Navajo are, um, how it goes is like the Redskins are the keepers of the land. They're the ones who help us to keep the land sacred. And that's where this energy is coming up too, because it's showing us that we have to be sacred with our land. We have to, with this climate change and with this eclipse going over the North Pole, it's huge, because we know every time it eclipse, every time there is the moon and the sun go over a certain part, there is heightened energy about there. There's something that comes out of there. And here we're going to have something that's going to be coming out of the North Pole that is going to say, hey, it's, we got to pay attention to certain things. And it's not only, it's not the cows pooing. It's that's not the main issue, although they'd like to make it, a lot of the veggie people want to make it that. It's not about the cows pooing. It's about more than that. It's about coming back and having respect for your land, and having respect for what we have, and everything that's on it, including the creepy crawlers, right? So having respect for all of that is a huge thing. And when we can come back to that, and that's part of this eclipse and this new moon, when we can come back to that ceremony, when we can come back to that ritual, to that creative energy, it brings us to our truth. Many can stay in their ivory towers, but in their ivory towers, how happy are they? I don't know. I'm not there with them. But this is coming in and bringing in some real truths that are coming in. We need trees and we need clean water. Yeah, we do. I saw, what when I looked into this climate change thing and the climate change lockdowns that they were talking about, this was in October of 2020, so we know it's coming. There's a boat that goes around, and it's solar driven, but it fuels the boat by eating all of the plastics. So it goes around to clean up, and it's eating all the plastics and grabbing all the plastics out of the water. There's invention. See, these are the things we don't hear about. We don't hear about these apartments that are being built that are total environmentally friendly, and that they're green of green apartments, and they have plants on the roof, plants all over, growing. This is that we're not hearing about. We don't hear about how new energies or new systems are coming through to create clean water. There's such beautiful progress that is there, but they're not, could you imagine if all our news, the north, east, west, and south, that's what news is. And the news is controlled by Uranus. Media is controlled by Neptune. Could you imagine just for a moment, if we just focused on the positive? Every day, 24/7, all of this beautiful news coming in of great things people are doing and bringing in that greatness, right? Trudeau, well, that's a whole nother thing with Trudeau. It's his chart is interesting because he has a triple trine in there. I think it's pouring down rain now. He has a triple trine, and his trine is I can't remember what it's in, but anyways, his trine's there to be a leader. Like, he has that leadership qualities to be the leader, to bring forth that. But it's again, it's that power. Where does the power come in? You know, he said something the other day that he wants to sue, or he wants to put the Catholic Church on charges, and they're demanding that the Pope come to Saskatchewan. Highly doubt any of that. Just saying, that's not going to happen. I can tell you that right now. And you're wanting to hold the Catholic Church, but who allowed it? Let's go to the pure source of all of that bullshit. Anyways, and even his own father, I mean, he could have stopped it. So there is this, of these people saying, "Oh, I'm going to do this because I want to look good." There's so many you want to so that means that you're going to charge the church with murder or whatever. I mean, god, the church has so much fucking blood on its hands. I mean, let's put it this way: everybody has blood on their hands. Doesn't matter what nation you're from. Everybody has blood on their hands. I'm a Celt, so God help us. We were bludgeoned and killing like crazy. So everybody has some sort of blood on their hands. But the documents, I don't think everything is going to be released. I think some of the things, some transparency, and this is part of this eclipse too, some of the transparency are going to come out, but you're not going to see everything that people want to see. Some of the things that are coming out are atrocious and totally just unfathomable, unbelievable of what they've done. But this is like, not to divert, but how they've done this to so many other cultures. And even let's go to China, and what are they doing to the Muslims and to those children, to the ones that are being like, here, this is where the ones that are being abused now, where people are throwing their babies over the border wall down in Mexico so they don't have to go back to Guatemala or some of those other countries that have atrocities and that are going on. I think this is opening up for us to start to realize there's more for us to start to come in. And how can we come in and heal this all? How can we come in and heal this all? Well, it starts with where does the healing need to start to come in within this whole world, within, and even within our own backyard. I mean, when you say, clean water, go up to the reses up in northern Canada. They're filthy. A lot of them are filthy, not all of them, but there's a lot that are filthy. Suicide rate is very, very high for them. So this is where so much is needed, but it's a huge net that needs to be untangled, and it's going to take a long time to untangle it. So we got to send it lots of love. Ho'oponopono. I don't know what the answers are for that. I don't know what the answers are. I just know that there's so many different atrocities that are happening right now to so many around the world that we got to send out the blessings. And more crazy is, it's going to come forward. But again, with the sun and the moon, coming in, and the Lord of all of this is Mercury. Mercury has a lot of information, and he's making this Gazini into the sun. So he's going into the heart of the sun. He's going into the eye of the sun to receive this knowledge that needs, and then is going to take it, and then he's going to retrograde as of the 22nd. He's got to go back over that shadow, right? So he already went through once, he went forward, then back, and now he's got to go forward. So then with the information we have gotten, how do we come to a place where we can heal? How can we come to a place where we can heal? And that's the whole thing, is that we got to come, like, there's going to be not only the 215 children. There's more than that. There's, where after we get all of the children and we find all of the bodies and we find all of the dead and everything else, how are we going to come to the healing? how are we going to come to the healing? Because this is where we have to come in with love. I mean, we can go I mean, Australia, fuck. I mean, they didn't have their indigenous people were considered flora and fauna until the late 70s. They weren't even part of the Constitution. So this is where it's like so much healing has to be done. That's why they're the keepers of the land. And we have to go into that energy of the keepers of the land in order to learn, in order for us to come together so that we can make a better place. I feel like I'm singing lyrics to a song, so we can come to a better place. So we can come to a place that is more that has a place where everybody where we can prosper, where you can go and open a business and earn a living, and and you can buy a home and you can live. This is where we want to go back. That if you want to go back to something, that's really what we want to go back to. We want to go back to a lot of coming together, and learning. Yes. Oh yeah. Learning so much, bringing in that education into the schools. I mean, it has to be taught. That's the important teaching, not to fucking tell my child that he's a they. He's not a him or a her. Fuck that. Get that out of, just move that shit out of the way. Let's get to the heart. Let's get into the love. Let's get into where we can understand, okay, what is the nation of the Blackfoot and the Cree and all the other beautiful nations that, that we have throughout North America and around the world? What do they have to tell us and teach us? Right. And that's bringing it in. And what about the other cultures? Like, what do they have to call, to teach us? And some of the crazy atrocities that we've all had in some way, and allow for this to come out and to forgive. This is, as I say, there's blood on everybody's hands. So, who is the one to cast the first stone? So this is where we have to come, and we have to start with love. And that's the hardest one, because we have more valves on our love than we do on hate. Hate, we just open up and we'll just spew it all over the fucking place. But love, we're just like, ooh, I just don't want to get hurt by that. I don't want anybody to say that part. But this is where it's like, no, this is where we really have to. That's the change. And that's where all of this energy is coming in. That's why many people like Candace and many others are feeling so much, because we're connected. We're connected. We're all connected. It's not where one person starts and another person ends. It's a continuous flow of energies, and we're all connected with it. And in order to heal it, we have to recognize it and release it. Recognize it and release it. And sometimes it's 1,000,001 times a day. And it's a lot. It's a lot. And yeah, the church has a lot of information. Do you know that it's not only, who else has a huge vault of fucking information? Is the Mormon church. And it's under guard. It's in a mountain. So that's another place too. It's horrible. Contain your emotions, people. Well, they can't contain, but it's also that reflection of what your emotions are and your feelings and your all of that. So this is where we come back, and we got to come back into the Ho'oponopono, and it's just and love is not necessary. It's not being cutesy wootsy. Love is standing up for yourself, right? That's love. Love is really bringing that that strength and that core in. I pulled out the Divine Feminine card, so I'm going to pull out a Divine Feminine energy. The cards that I got today that I pulled out, I got the Page of Cups, which is renewed substance, renewal, right? And then we've gone through a lot. So we've gone through a lot. We're coming into some new energy, some new, of that. And it'd be interesting, Candace, to look at what degree your Mars is at too in your chart. I can look that up. but to look at what degree Mars is in, because right now we're coming to the end. Mars will be, soon as Mars goes into Leo tomorrow, like it is one of those boom but when Mars goes into Leo is also war. So it's a very warring energy with everything else. So it brings in that like, whoa, let's get going. And that fire ignites. So all of a sudden we got the Leo ignited. So it's like when you have a bonfire and then you throw that one piece on it, it just goes, and it ignites all of this energy that comes through. So we're going to be igniting. And we have, of course, we get a goddess, a high priestess, Enheduna. She's a high priestess. I am one with my soul, and my soul is a legacy of love. So that's her name. She's very pretty. So she's coming forward, bringing in that legacy of love. Let me see if I can find her here. 206. So it's these cards. Those are the cards. And this is where embodies the ability to become one with our soul and to live out the highest purpose. She was born in Mesopotamia in 2285 BC. And is considered not only one of the first known female poets, but also the first named literary author in history. Wow. Her soul voice meditation, what allows me to express the reality of my soul. What allows me to express the reality of my soul. What allows me to express the reality of my soul. Love that. An intention. I am one with my soul, and my soul is a legacy of love. I am one with my soul, and my soul is a legacy of love. And she wants to live and breathe your soul. She wants you to become so intimate with it that there is no longer any separation. And there are no more excuses and apologies for how powerful you are. You are the high priestess. You are this internal. She whispers, your holy heart is this legendary. Your holy heart is this legendary. So bringing in this legendary energy, I mean, wow, beautiful energy for this new moon and coming in. Let's see who else is coming in for us. Machig Labadorn, the diamond-hearted Dakini. I see the light in my own darkness. I face my ego beliefs to feel free. Oh my God. These are right on target with this new moon. Right? I see the light in my own darkness. I face my ego beliefs to feel free. Wow. So here we're bringing in this energy of light. We're bringing in this energy of transformation and change. Love it. Love it. Love it. Love it. So, I mean, that's what we need to go forward with all of this. So this is the last year. I'll just bring this up. And her mantra. Whew. She takes the dark and transmutes it into light. She's a Tibetan Buddhist. And believe that the Yishi Sogal was reborn as the Mashing Labdwan. I'm horrible at this. And that both were incarnations of the Buddha Vistite. And the Magchi's mother had an auspicious dream right before giving birth. Wow. We're such powerful beings. We're more powerful than we actually know. How can I fly now with two? I'll go too far, too high. Who will I become now that I am free? And who will I lose in the elevation of my soul? She supports us in seeing that what's ready to come to consciousness. She's here with her diamond heart to hold us as we feel one of our demons, not with fear, but with the knowledge that bringing it to life, into the light, will help set it free. So that's a beautiful way of looking at a lot of the energy that we're working with. And it's Candace. Candace is like a little kid in candy. Can I have one? Can I have one? Can I have one? Pull me one. Pull me one. Is that when we transmute or we're working with the darkness or our dark, I'm going to call it the dark souls of the night. When we're looking at that energy, it's allowing us to transmute it, but we're setting it free. We're allowing it, instead of it causing turmoil inside of us and craziness inside of us, we're allowing it to go forth so that it can be free. And in being free, then it helps us to to be able to create more love. This is the one I pulled. I just pulled a card out of the deck for Candace, and it's Mary of Nazareth, the Mother of God. I am blessed. My courage gives birth to the divine. And you got the Sacred Heart there. Look at that. I love the Sacred Heart. Oh my God, the Sacred Heart. When I see the Sacred Heart at all, it brings tears to my eyes. And that energy of the Sacred Heart. So Mary of Nazareth, I mean, what a courageous woman she was. I really think for her to stand up, to be that woman, to say, I will give birth to him, and that is that's what, this is what I'm going to do. She's profound spiritual and creative power we all possess. Mary, or Miriam in Hebrew, was the first century Galileo Jewish woman. Mary has been venerated since the inception of Christianity and also holds a revered position in Islam. So she's a very powerful woman. I think also for her too, she was educated. She was a very well-educated woman, which was very odd for women at that time to be. And then be betrothed. I think she was like 14, around 14 to 16, somewhere there, when she was betrothed to Joseph, because Joseph's actual first wife died and he needed a wife. He needed someone to help to care for the children that he did have. So here's her soul voice meditation. Am I in service to the light within me? Ooh, am I in service to the light within me? And I am blessed. My courage gives birth to the divine. I am blessed. My courage gives birth to the divine. So this is a very powerful, educated woman, and let the energy of joy give birth to the divine through us. Because you got to think, people didn't live. I mean, to live an old age, when you live to be, Abraham lived to be 100 and something, and then Sarah had a baby in her 90s or her, whatever. But I mean, to hear people living that long was very odd. A lot of women died in childbirth. They didn't live very long. Or they lived, if you lived past 25, I mean, that's basically, wow, you're old to live past that age. So that's why, young girls got married at 14 or shortly after they had their menstrual cycle, because then that told them that they were a woman. They were ready to begin to give birth, right? Because so many children did die in childbirth, right? I want to live into my 80s at least. I think you will. I've been told I'm going to live 125 years, so God bless me. And anybody who has to take care of me after that. But it's the joy dictate her responses. So Mary leads us to trust that we can say yes to what feels light. It doesn't have to make sense or work with the timeline the ego has mapped out for us. In the midst of our ordinary everyday life, we can say yes to the angel who greets us in the space of our heart, and let the energy of joy give birth to the divine through us, right? So so we'll see what that actually looks like. 125 years. I have had a few people say that. Oh, you got a long lifeline, like 125 years. I'm just like, who the hell lives 125 years? You know, I mean, maybe by that time we're going to be, our food is going to be like little pills that we just, oh, here's a little pill. This is your steak and onions. So yeah, just crazy. But take some time today. It is intense. We got a lot of nuttiness, but I think there's a really nice flow with it. I think people will do better by themselves than in groups. You might feel really good being by yourself than being around people. So definitely take some time to really center and ground. If you have to go out, call in Archangel Michael, call in the goddesses, call in these goddesses, call in, the Divine Mother Mary. And I get Duana, Enduana. Call in Enduana and Makhig, Labdoran. Call in these beautiful goddesses to help to protect you and guide you. Know that you're totally protected and guided in all that you do. And, bring that forth in what you're doing. You're going to go for a bike ride. Nice. Go for a bike ride. That reminds me of the LSD. He went for a bike ride. On his first trip with LSD, he went for a bike ride. And that was just the most exuberating thing in his whole life, was after he found it with LSD. And he I probably didn't really intentionally know what the hell it was, obviously, and then just went for a bike ride. And everything became more vivid to him. So I'm not advising anybody to go out and take LSD today, or any forms of hallucinogenic drugs. But yeah, definitely get out to get some fresh air. It's pouring rain here. Like, I don't know what it is out in your neck of the woods, but right here it's pouring rain. So turn and face the change, even the strange. It may lead you places you never imagined. So that's my closing. Turn and face the change, even the strange. It may lead you places you never imagined. So it's very much like that poem of, I read the Rumi poem of inviting that guest, what's ever at the door, invited in. Inviting in what's ever at the door. So you invite that bad witch to the dinner. You gotta know what she has to say. You gotta understand. That's how the healing all starts. So starting July 7th, I have a new class starting. It's called Tapping Into Your Power with the Blue Flame. We're going to be working with the energies of Venus with this. And it begins July 7th. It's going to be a time of ceremony, community, and ritual and prayer. So please join me, because I am so excited to introduce this and bring the depths of not only working with the planet Venus, but in bringing that ritual and prayer and community to our earth. Have a blessed one, and have a blessed new moon. And may the Lord and the Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you in all that you say and all that you be and all that you do. Blessed be everybody. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for being a part of my world. And definitely share and subscribe to my YouTube channel. And let's get it up to 1,000. I got 131. Yes, I'm almost there. Let's go to 1,000. Blessed be everybody. Bye-bye.